So I have an appraisal coming up, and this guy, this follically challenged fellow here, who happens to work at the same firm as this very biased individual that seems to enjoy screwing with me online very often and trying to say that I'm biased, he sent me a letter, or sent the insured a letter, which said that basically that the appraisal provision requires that each party to appoint an impartial appraiser. Mr. Herring's social media posts suggest he is strongly biased against the insurers and could not fairly be described as impartial in the context of the dispute between an insurer and the insured. Insurance company therefore reserves the right to object to Mr. Herring's involvement and to challenge the validity of the award if it is affected by Mr. Herring's apparent bias. How would you have a 3-member panel and have somebody's bias really affected? That would be interesting to by itself. But my follically challenged friend here, he didn't think through the whole appraisal process. Anyway, so basically he said, go ahead and proceed, but we can just call foul if we don't like it, because that's fair and that's not biased. But then they give their appraiser. Their appraiser is 17 years working at Farmers Insurance and like 11 months working at a building consultancy that only works for the carrier. In my entire career, I've not been for the carrier or for the insured. I've worked for both sides. I've worked for all sides. And in fact, I've been a conflict resolution specialist pretty much my whole life between those parties. So it would beg the question why your guy that spent the last 20 years working for the carrier exclusively and me who's worked for everybody for the last 30 years would be biased. It could be you talk to this guy who loves to make a bunch of noise and create problems in the industry that he is the only solution to. Well, he calls me biased. Could be. Or it could be you're just getting fees for a bunch of BS. But here's the thing. This probably isn't going to end really well for my follically challenged friend here or for his client. Because if we go to appraisal and we do it with his biased appraiser, that means if the umpire agrees with me, because, it's surely going to the umpire, because obviously it can't be just the two of us, because then they could be like, you badly affected our insider guy here, and he agreed with you. So this is the most cockamamie bull I've ever seen. I could line you up people who would know that I disagreed with him on claims. And I don't work for anybody that I'm not perfectly willing to lose as a client, because I'm not going to give up my ethics to work for anybody. Guy contacted me the other day, said, hey man, I got an appraisal for you, but I'm going to pay you a deposit if you need to go. I want you to go under contract that says if you can't get $100,000 more than the carrier has already spent now, that we don't pay you anything else. And I said, no, never. It's illegal. I'm not going to do it. It's a stupid idea. What if you're lying, and what if there isn't the damage there? Man, did that sound biased? No, it sounded like the truth. You freaking tools, you just don't understand. So go back to your follically challenged life and go back to your BS calling people things that they aren't. And I will continue to do the same thing I'm doing, the unbiased way I've done it my whole life. That was fun. Peace out.